Welcome to Las Vegas. Daniel Negreanu headlines today's final table at the PGT PLO Series, and we're doing some knocking out because there are bounties on the line. Event 2 is a 5K buy-in PLO Progressive Bounty. More on that in just a second. Let me welcome you inside the Triangle Studio at the PokerGO Studio in Las Vegas. My name is Remko. Donnie Peters alongside me, and the man behind the presenting sponsor, PLO Mastermind, Fernando Habegger, better known as Jay Nandez, will join us today in the booth to give you some analysis of the highest order of the beautiful game of Pot Limit Omaha. Here's a look at the final table chip counts. Dylan Weisman, arguably the best PLO tournament player in the world right now, is our chip leader with 7.6 million. You see Gryko, Furth, Negreanu, John Riordan, and Sean Winter still in the mix as well. It is a stacked final table. There are no soft spots, and this is what they're playing for. $88,000 for first and second. And you might wonder, but Remko, why are the payouts for the top two places the same? And that's where the bounty element comes into play. The bounties are as follows right now. Gryko is worth $19,000. If you bust him, you get half. The other half gets added to your bounty, so on and so forth, which means that during heads-up play, we'll play for the remaining bounty money, which is going to be rather large. All right, here we are inside the room. Negreanu on your left-hand side, already chatting up a storm, so I'm sure we'll lean back a lot here at today's final table. Fernando Habegger joining us in just a few minutes. Donnie, no soft spots today.
No, not at all. All these players extremely well-versed in Pot Limit Omaha.
I really don't want to.
Where do we put our cards?
I have plans. What are the plans? I'm going to take a nap.
I will tell people that for sure. It's like, no, I don't want to do anything, actually.
Josh, our AC right here, baby.
We should catch up this weekend.
Hey, second.
No.
Good score for you.
We really shouldn't.
Blinds are we playing?
What? 40-80.
Cool. Pot.
280.
Dylan Weisman with the trademark orange tinted glasses. Negreanu also has been known to sport those. I think he's going for more of a yellow tint today. Riordan with the traditional black glasses. Richard Gryko, Donnie, he's such an OG, he doesn't need glasses.
Yeah, why do you need glasses? Come on.
Because Sean's going to fold.
Stop hiding.
Sorry? Started with about 3?
Four.
Four.
Gryko from the UK. Played in the very first tournament I ever covered at the Master Classics of Poker in Amsterdam. This guy's been around for a very long time. That was back in 2008, to date myself a little bit. Gryko, I'm sure, has been around for quite a few more years. Sean Winter, by the way, came into this final table with 4 big blinds, and he is in the big blind right away.
This might be the winner.
Do you need to put one to the side to figure out if
I'm going
it's
to
not
call.
tempting you?
I'm going to call.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go.
I might
Sean
check
Winter
You might. I hope you don't.
100.
at risk here. That bounty money up for grabs along with the payout.
Well, he's not all in yet.
Talk about
He
that.
just
Well,
called. So
He just really didn't.
Well,
want me to
yeah,
have
if
the
anyone
side
can
fold.
still fold, it's Sean
that's
Winter.
what I mean. I only bring that up because it's specifically Sean Winter.
No reads from
Oh,
me,
man.
buddy.
All in.
Oh, wow, you didn't want to extend. What an idiot.
Weisman flicking in the chip to put Sean Winter at risk. And he's got an open-ended straight draw.
Yeah,
He's got a wrap, actually.
Yeah, he's going with this one for sure. Shows the deuce as a joke.
Ooh, he's got
7?
He's got everything.
3, 4,
You got
5.
It's
5-4.
7,
in
5, 4.
true
That's
Pot
a
Limit
wrap.
Omaha form that you stand up during all ins
That's a
just to
wrap for
count all the
Sean.
outs.
Let me hit it
There
twice.
are many. There are many right now.
Is it how much? Is it 30?
Let me hit it twice. You did want to extend. This is maximum extending. Double me up for the maximum.
I hope not.
What do you mean? Why would you not want me to stay in?
Bounties.
John.
Bounties are real.
God, this is nothing.
I forgot I'm supposed to root for a big jump.
Those are
Sean
big
Winter,
pay jumps.
Right?
one of the hardest players to
what are you
kill
looking for here?
at any final table, or in
Hit
any
it
tournament,
twice.
I should say.
1.
Deuce on the turn. He's going to give him additional outs here. 19 outs.
I didn't know. I need a 9,
I
7,
said you need an ace.
9, 7, 5,
Yeah.
4, deuce, 3.
He has a
Our
wrap.
head.
He has a wrap.
9, 7, 4, deuce, 3.
No, he has a wrap.
2, 3,
Half
4,
the deck.
5, 7, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4.
All right, river card. It's the 3.
That's not
Sean
I knew I
Winter,
had the winner when I looked at it, too. That's sick.
quick double up here. Much needed as well.
He didn't hit you with the damn it.
We could have checked it down. I'd have hit you with the river lead.
You would have.
Winter still the short stack with 9 big blinds, but for him, that might as well be
I have a legitimate
25
That's
bigs.
how lucky you are. You want me to double there
Legitimate hand.
so you can extend.
You would have won like a 5 million chip.
By the way,
out
much
there.
love to everyone in the chat
I
right
always
now
think
on
he's
both
opening
YouTube and
money.
PokerGo. We're going to be
Yeah, 7 high. What do you think you have the best hand?
10-6 is a
I
good
know,
hand.
but I mean,
That was wordy. I mean,
hardly
dominated.
call it the nuts.
You
No, it
should.
wasn't the nuts, but it was a good hand. I'll
Figure
play
like
it.
ace 4 5 deuce.
It's hard for me to have you dominated.
That's
I could
true.
have Josh Aryeh dominated.
Dylan had 4 wheel cards all day yesterday. When he
That was only. That's how I built my stack. I maintained it with high cards.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you got to build it with the low, maintain it with the high.
Medication.
Oh, that's real.
Whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Okay.
No, I didn't mean like this.
No inciting action from other players.
Shades of what we saw last time we covered Dylan Weisman at a PLO final table where he had a big stack,
Do you have a good
just
hand?
stayed on the gas the
don't
entire
know.
time. I would
I started
expect
with
much the same from him
395
today as long as he
minus 80.
maintains that top position.
360.
You think Dylan Weisman is going to gamble like Aryeh did?
17?
Maybe a little bit more controlled, right? But I think he'll
He really-
similarly
He really
stay
thought I
very
was-
aggressive.
Could check fold.
I mean, it's a real thing though.
10 seconds.
That's how I'm short.
Yeah.
I just kept putting in 565 versus you in the
Check
check
folding
fold
the
the last
line.
215.
It
Queen
wasn't.
Jack 9 10 double.
I wasn't upset about it.
Playing the game.
If you're with us in the chat, please let us know where you're watching from. We are doing a 1-hour preview
mean,
here on
that'd be-
YouTube,
that'd be
then
worse
hopping
than
on
Monday,
over
but-
to PokerGo exclusively, hanging out with our trusted fans and friends. For now, though, see lots of people
I like the way they did.
in the
I
YouTube
like the way
chat.
that Tim did this one. The 3-5Ks is good.
Appreciate you all hanging out. Of course, watching
cover it.
Negreanu at yet another final table this year.
This
Going
is the
for his
best the-
fourth
the
win
series
of
has
the
felt in
year.
terms of the
Most notably, of
tournaments.
course, winner of
Having the 100K
the
also at the
50K
end is
Poker
really
Players
nice
Championship,
to get
which
That's well, that,
is probably a win, Donnie. He can sort of,
I'm-
you know, coast on for about 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, because
Actually,
like
Sean Winter
everyone
on the
that
button.
like gets top 3 in one of these is just gonna fire the 100.
Everyone.
That would be the dream.
I mean, there definitely are people that are like,
For sure.
if I'm break even on the series, I'm playing the 100.
Donnie,
240.
every poker
If you're-
tournament
some
is a
people are, like,
satellite to the
down
next one.
150 going
Of course
into
it
the
is.
100,
Gotta
they're
stay in
definitely-
action, buddy.
So they might not. Some people have discipline.
And look at this. Negreanu limping in from the small blind with the jacks. Wiseman applying that pressure in
the thing
position
is,
with
like,
ace, queen, 4 deuce, double
You're
suited.
down 150. That's kind of like a lot. for
Very
this
curious to
series
see how
going
this plays
100.
out
You
as we
can't
see
keep
king
breaking.
7-5 rainbow
You're due.
roll off the deck. Negreanu's jacks best here, both facing an overcard. Could see some aggression here from Wiseman on this dry flop.
Yeah, I think I expect Dylan Wiseman
Chance
just to
Corner-
continue
Chance
to
Corner
put
tweets
pressure
that
on. Maybe
it's
it's
the
not here
opposite.
on the flop as he does
Don't
check
chase.
back, but
That's how
on
you go
future
broke.
streets,
150 is
that's
a
going to be a
decent start
tough
for me.
one. Negreanu turns the set of jacks.
Down 150 is like my average 6 events in.
I mean, there's
It's like,
only
all right,
there's
we're-
only 95,000 buy-ins. It's kind of hard to get down 150. You have to rebuy a lot.
Well, it's unlimited. You could lose everything.
Negreanu happy to keep checking
5
here
and
after hitting a set
25.
on the turn.
3 in the 15.
11 in the 15 if you're out.
10 seconds. Check.
Check again. No stabbing here from Wiseman as Negreanu fills up on the river. Wiseman left with just ace high.
7-5-4 deuce. That hand's out right now. You would've made a vote. 7-5-4 deuce. That's your scary turn. You guys get it all in?
205.
.205 is the lead from Negreanu. That should get it done. Nothing there for Weisman.
Yeah, I think
He
Daniel
does
has 3, so he probably doesn't.
Have what?
toss
I
him
think
into
you
the
have 3, so you probably don't. That's-
3?
Threes.
Usually, whatever I think you have the
Pocket
opposite.
threes.
So I think you have
No, I
3.
had a pocket pair though.
5 minutes left.
I think you
It
have.
was up there.
It was close to
Good turn
pocket,
check.
pocket fours.
I had a hand that could have bluffed the turn.
You probably had the
Jack was all
opposite.
me. But it's such a weird board where there's like 800 bad cards.
How many hands?
I bet you called.
There's the rivers that were getting bluffed. That wasn't that one.
Oh, blinds up
might have
on.
worked.
Unless
That's
there's
Like 10 of hearts. Shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
If you want to play a big one, we will. But if not, we'll just.
I had a very good. I had like a way better hand that I was supposed to have there.
I had what?
Double suited ace, like really good.
Ugly jacks.
You might have folded the flop.
This is number
Probably
one.
not.
No, I would have. I had Jack 9-5.
Oh, you would have folded the flop.
Yeah, I would have folded.
So I get
You
the
fooled me. I thought
Depending what
you.
bet.
I thought you had 3s.
Jacks.
Fooled me.
Pocket jacks.
Exact opposite.
No, it was 3s or the
I had a
opposite.
very bad hand to bet the flop with, so you got
I
it.
understand.
Donnie, give us some
think kings are
context
the
when you
opposite.
can about the sort of brilliance of Dylan Weisman and his rise, sort of meteoric in a way, on the live tournament
probably
felt,
too much.
and more specifically Polygon Omaha, which seems to be the game in which he is unbeatable.
Pot.
280.
Yeah, he's potting. He's potting it.
We'll wait 1 second here to see if anything develops from
Immediately said pot. I thought you were
Winter trying to
No,
get
no,
his
no.
money in once
I'm
again.
not. It wasn't my turn.
Whenever I have a good question, they just start firing those chips
I
in
know,
here.
it happened yesterday too. You asked the question and then boom, it was like all in.
Maybe
It allows me to think though.
Right,
so that,
exactly.
Giving you
a
maybe
little
it's just
breather.
very well timed by you.
Because yells pot when it's
Thank
on
God
deck.
it didn't go to.
Oh, Bruno Furth with a quick peek and a snap shove from the big blind.
You are all
Winter
in,
all in with ace king jack 6. Waiting for the big reveal here. Bruno Firth on the 4th hand of play.
That was a disciplined fold. It really was. It
taking
really
a
was.
stab
I-
at sending Winter to
I
the
was.
rail.
Sean had me destroyed. I had an ace in my hand. I did have nut spades though.
Oh wow. Oh, they
It's like you're rooting for
Queen
Bruno
jack
or
10,
something.
4 double suited for
Is he
Firth.
not, does he not have position on you or something?
No, I'm rooting for you, Sean.
Very close numbers here in this showdown. Winter slightly ahead with the ace high.
Trips.
7-7-5. No pair for
What a
Firth.
7 out there. 7 ends it. No?
Yeah.
Unless it's the spade. Oh no. Yeah, it ends it. Did you have a 7 too, Dylan?
I had a 5.
Bruno Firth
King
looking
ends
for
it too.
one of
Offsuit.
9 outs, 3 of which have been folded
Does
already.
not end it.
8 on the turn
seems
gives
scary.
Firth additional outs.
Does it not look scary?
9, 10.
Queen ends it.
Pair the board. Like old Carrie Cats. Pair the board. Pair the
Sean
board.
Winter needs to fade a card to stay alive.
Okay.
River is the king of hearts.
anyone
That'll do it.
covered yet?
Sean Winter, second double up in just 4 hands.
525.
He goes from basically having 2 big
I knew when
blinds
Sean came
to
in
now
with
being
5
on
bigs, he had
19
us right
bigs
where-
and being a real contender.
He wanted us.
I mean, he did get
That's
the.
what he does.
He got the deuce 4 5 7. Flopped the full wrap on the first hand.
Bruno
Did wake up with
Dylan
premium.
screwed
big.
you over. He said I had Extron's exact hand. You're,
I didn't say
I
your
like your
exact
hand,
hand.
and then-
I had ace deuce 5 9 nut spades.
Can't bust this guy. He comes in with 5 bigs every time. That's his game.
he just, I mean, he never had over starting sec the whole tournament and just found his way in there.
That's his game.
Weren't you chip leader?
The whole tournament until you busted everyone.
You met your match.
Until I got moved to Daniel Negreanu's table.
All right, we are now joined by Fernando Habegger. Little late for some grooming, but hey, I respect that. You needed to look sharp when you do commentary. Of course, everyone is watching the poker, not us.
I just some
By the
random videos on
way,
the
for
internet.
those unfamiliar,
What
Jay
game is not
Nandes,
your
the
jam?
man behind PLO
What's your
Mastermind.
least
Go check
favorite
them
game?
out. PLOmastermind.com/PokerGo. Sign up for
game
free
is
right
not
now. No
your
credit
game.
card needed and all that good
Least
stuff.
favorite game? Probably
Fernando, good to
Brad
have
with
you
Lucy,
back
Gracie.
in these PLO
They're kinda dumb
streets, both
games.
They're
playing
just stupid.
and
Like,
some
you can't bluff the whole
commentary.
pot. What-
Give us some insights into
can,
how these first
sort of,
couple of
but-
days have been.
Yeah.
You're not as good as Tommy
Exciting
does,
times. I mean,
read.
this final table
Who
is
is?
stacked.
How could you possibly
It's looking
be?
pretty interesting, and
I
of course we have a wide range of different buy-ins across the next 9 days,
Handled it well, though.
and it's
Yeah,
looking
sure.
really interesting here with
like
a
1.4.
star-studded final table
don't
of
think
the
so.
Is that a
PKO
limp
today.
there, Sean?
Paid him. I just paid him 700.
1.4,
Daniel Negreanu, of course, for those that are just tuning in. Our headliner just took one off of Dylan Weisman to maintain his stack in this 40 big blind range, which of course is a lot when you're playing pot limit Omaha tournaments. in this hand.
Pot.
Winter limping on the button, Negreanu making the call, and Weisman not going to accept that.
This is a very interesting format because we have to balance the payouts and the bounties, of course. As you guys can see here on the screen,
like this
probably
is
already
Tunica 20
introduced
years
the
ago.
green and the red chips in question. And Sean Winter limps in with a pretty strong hand, certainly strong enough to raise. And Dylan
Gonna be good enough.
pots it,
See that fucking black
covering
10.
his opponents here, really shifting gears. And
There's
that's
no
really
black
what
10 in my
tournament
hand.
poker is all about.
How do you always
is
have
to
it?
shift gears
What can I say?
dependent
You
on
never
how
say,
the
every time I
stacks
claim
are
you have nothing,
distributed
you
at the
always
table.
say you had it.
Today
I mean,
with
and
the
I do have
additional,
No, I don't believe
bounty
it.
structure as well.
You can't have it this
It's going to make
often.
this really interesting.
I didn't. You just said I had.
strategically
Do I have a black 10? And I said no.
Yeah, not having a black 10 is having it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm confused.
He knows.
So do we know anything about the amount of bounties players
So you
have?
get short, just
Yes,
fold
we do.
14 times in a row to Dylan.
Then I
Up to
don't.
3 bigs.
I'm okay with the strategy, to be honest.
You know what you're doing wrong.
Going around the table from left to right. Negreanu's got a 12K bounty. Dylan Weisman's got a 17K bounty. Bruno Furth has a 16K bounty. Richard Gryko 19K.
As long
John
as Daniel
Riordan,
comes in
16K,
behind me,
and
this is
Winter
the
is
14
17K.
bigs as well.
Pretty similar between all of them. Negreanu's kind of the outlier with a little bit shorter of a bounty at 12K, but everyone else 16 to 19K.
That's very interesting. So basically the way this format works is that you're going to win half the bounty directly and the other half goes to your stack. If you happen to win the whole tournament, you obviously collect your own bounty as well. So you probably have an average bounty of around $14,000, $15,000 that you will collect immediately. And if you look at the page jump of this tournament, 23,000 for 6th, 28,000. So the bounties are definitely still very significant at this point. It really comes down to how many players enter a tournament. If you look online and you see tournaments with hundreds and thousands of players, it might sometimes be a bit different. But here in a relatively small field, like 127 players, or how many entries do we have in this tournament?
159.
159.
Yep.
Oh, you're from Canada.
The bounties are still very significant here and will have a big impact on how players will be approaching this final
That's where you
table.
were from.
Weird.
So in this hand, we have a small blind versus big blind hand.
You big soccer
Gryko
guy?
comes in with the limp. And Riordan is going to go ahead and check.
I shouldn't start talking with you on stream. That could get crazy.
I think Gryko would raise a lot of hands here from the small blind, but his hand is really bad. He certainly wants to blow up the pot in general just to make sure that the money goes in post-flop. Obviously with the big bounties in play here. But he goes check-check with two very mediocre hands. Gryko now sees a check back, and his
Last night
two
as I was
pair on the
falling
flop.
asleep, I had my arms above my
remains
head on
the
my
best
pillow like
hand.
this, and I was like very close to falling asleep, and I just suddenly woke up, and I just checked on my pillow. I really realized what I did. what the hell just happened?
That's funny.
What do you mean you checked?
Like I checked with my hand.
Well, as he was falling asleep.
I like woke up and I thought action was on me or something. I just checked.
That's great. Bruno Furth has been playing a lot of poker lately, as you can tell by his subconscious checking there.
So Riordan has two pair as well. He checked back the flop. He knows he's going to call. He's just trying to appear weak. But the river might be a little bit of an action killer here on a 9. So obviously Gryko had the best hand, but it's probably too thin to value bet at this point. And the same thing holds true for the big blind.
Chop it up, boys.
No good.
They won't
Chop
chop
it?
it up.
10-3.
Oh, they do chop it up.
That's half true.
I see.
What kind of cards are you guys playing?
Don't worry about it.
Hey, you didn't open, you didn't open, you didn't open. These must
Here.
have been some bad hands.
I might have missed one.
Always ready to provide
Richard's
his
trying
own
to figure out how he
commentary.
hasn't won every tournament that's ever ran here.
for just joining us. PGT PLO Series kicked off yesterday with event number 1. We've got 9 days of poker action for you, capping things off with the 100K buy-in super
Playing
high
pretty
rollable
passively, there's
PLO.
sleep over now.
And Donnie and I joked already
I
that
don't even know
many
what I
players
had
will treat
next
this
door.
series as almost as like a satellite,
Oh, I gotta
perhaps landing their way in
Extension
one
over here.
of the largest PLO events of the year. Saw a question coming into the chat right away here from Promised Land. I believe he says, I don't get why we don't see Nandez playing the highest stakes PLO when he is the PLO guy. Please explain yourself. Why are you not at the table?
That's a good
question.
question with the British accent too,
The
Sean.
way a tournament works is not everyone will make it to the final table. It's not like we all get a trophy kind of thing.
Right.
It's more like you
Oh,
participate. You might win some hands, might lose some hands, and in the process of that, you might get eliminated, which is what happened to me yesterday in this tournament. So unfortunately, today I'm not on the
Who would I
final
ask?
table.
I don't know any other group.
Sharp observation. I'm not on the final table.
Official-
But there's still a lot of events to play, so
Like in your
You
head.
are hopping into
Gryko.
today's new
Gryko.
events after commentary
Can't
here,
tell us
so
what he says it in his
plenty
head.
of
Limping
chances
is
here.
limping?
These players
Yeah.
on screen
The thing is absolutely.
will also enter late into today's new event,
Why
event
do you love
number
PLO
3.
so much, Daniel?
Because I can see the flop. Because you can't move in on me.
Yes, 'cause you
Yeah, I
get-
do. Because then you can't move in on
You
me.
get to limp as much as you want.
You get to see the flop.
So Negreanu plays
Hate those jammers.
another limp here. You do see the small and big blind complete, respectively check.
Check.
Check, check. $120.
So I think you have ace jack, so that means you probably don't.
You always got me pegged.
So I never know what you
Every
have.
time you say cards that I have, I never have anything.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm learning. I've learned.
True, yeah.
I've learned now to just.
Say like whatever you read is, it's definitely wrong.
Yes, exactly.
You're
You're just you're
Yeah,
you're a master of.
Who has 5Ks?
Reverse, reverse. All right, I got 100.
You and Carrie.
Do we know the amount of bullets people have
Oh
in
my
this
God.
tournament?
Actually, we don't,
Blinds
as we get a look at the Richard Gryko side by side. Very interesting choice here. I do see it though.
75.
Take it. Just give him
You
the
could, I mean, you could have told me
I
that
have
was
200.
just
You're
Richard
doing
in
pretty
his
good,
younger
right?
years.
After 75.
Maybe it was.
Give John 3 purple chips,
Please.
please.
No, I don't
You
think we
got-
know
you
how
the
many
only ones with
bullets
spares.
people have fired. I would assume Negreanu might be in for 7.
75.
Only 7.
This is 5.
Yeah, what was it like yesterday in this event? Was it as aggressive as I might assume?
So it's gonna be
Well,
fast.
traditionally,
Time you heard that.
I've seen crazier day ones in the 5K PKO
You got a mill?
comparison to yesterday. But I don't know. Every year is different. I mean, I haven't
Is
seen every
Dylan gonna
table,
pay me
obviously, but
275 or no?
in the past, you've seen people straddling,
Biggest
getting in
loss-
blind.
loss of
Negreanu
all.
last
Or do I just
last
am I
season
gone?
in spring, I think he bought in for like
I was gonna
7 or
keep this
9
one. Is that
times
okay?
or 10 times maybe.
the only way you can get a
Just
chip
getting in
out
a
of
blind every hand, just trying to build a stack in this
Maybe you
bounty
double
tournament.
paid.
And he was not the only one, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure
because I
how it
have
was this time.
1.3
But
still.
gauging on the room yesterday, it looked relatively normal.
You had what?
Here, let's maybe just a million.
025 before.
And even on this final table, I mean, we do see a bunch of limping, people proceeding relatively cautiously.
That'd be
which is
sharp to do that
not-
on
Could you imagine like if
not
like,
necessarily
are the chip
expected
leader
given
and
the
you
big
call people,
bounties
you
in
always
play
get their small chip?
and the big gap
Yeah,
between the stack
strong.
sizes. So I'm a little bit surprised so far.
You'd have to change your style a lot.
Quick little
5
color up
fine.
here to
Expertly.
clean up some of this
No,
chip
50, 100,
mess.
50, 100, 50,
Every
100.
Chip still on the table here.
So players like Gryko, obviously Weisman, Negreanu, like they should definitely
Ah,
try
that
to win
should
these
lead-
bounties of Sean,
3
Winter,
last
and
12
what is the first
tournaments.
name of Riordan?
John.
John, right, as well, right? Yeah, exactly. I
Best
mean, the
that
bounties are
finishes
big,
second.
and they only have 10 big blinds now that the blinds went up.
Sounds like they work on your
Someone
engine.
like Gryko would only risk $1 million out of $4 million trying to win a 15K
No,
bounty.
I
The
do need to
equities
work on my
will
head.
close into
The one I
PLO,
got
as we
second in,
know.
I had
the pay jumps aren't
19 to 1
massive,
chip lead.
so
Heads
we
up.
should see
I got second.
a good amount of aggression.
That's
We saw
impressive.
so far Dylan raised 2 limpers super wide with an ace blocker. But apart from that, we'll see. We'll see if the cautious approach continues here. Queen Jack 8-9. I'd say in a normal PLO tournament, not a great hand to raise because you don't have an ace. The ace blocker is very important for PLO tournaments, shallow stack sizes and whatnot. But in this particular case, it doesn't matter as much because the bounties are so much worth. So John here on the button picks up ace king 10-6. This is actually a good hand to either 3-bet or fold. I'm a bit surprised he chooses the latter because he is the shortest stack player. The thing is, if John doubles, it doesn't really do that much for him yet. He only goes to 2 million, and he's never a massive favorite pre-flop with the hand that he had. Straight here for Dylan, Negreanu flat up with kings. Completely standard. Negreanu is in a middling chip stack position. He doesn't want to blow up the pot against Weisman. He wants to proceed cautiously pre and post flop, and Dylan has flopped the nuts on a very unsuspecting board. But that being said, still want to trying to put in some chips here.
Are you generally going to assume that your overpair is in heaps of trouble on a flop like this? Can we automatically make that assumption?
Oh yeah, for sure. And also Dylan is not going to bet this board with just a wide range of hands because Negreanu can hit this board very easily defending from the big blind.
Gryko's waiting for the Jack 10-6-3. That's all that he's played.
I'm being disciplined. What can I say?
Jack 9-6 deuce. My big hand yesterday.
Yeah, so Gryko is more of a, I would say, a very smart, very methodical player.
Mine was the ace queen 7-3.
Sean Winter is obviously the
queen
oracle.
7-3
You're there for it. He's just like feeling it out.
Ace king deuce 8-6.
I'd say John.
No. This is
Kempton said I can really take over the river.
As well.
I mean, the take over the
PLO,
tournament
very good.
this river comes.
No, this is the one where I just got them pre against kings. No, the Kempton hand, I'm not going to say what I had.
Well, you already said you had a advanced bluff.
I never said that. I literally never said that.
Okay. What's Kalshi? Does anyone know what that is? Kalshi.
Kalshi?
Kalshi on the table.
I have no idea.
What's Kalshi? Anybody?
Sounds like a...
I'm sure the commentators could.
Tell us what Kalshi is. I don't know. Do I own a piece of it? I might own a piece of it. I don't know. What is this, my company?
All
what
about Kalshi. It's a place where you can actually trade on the U.S. elections. So, hey, we all love to have
all over the rail.
Some money on the line. It's the first legal exchange in the U.S. where you can
it's a great
trade
company.
on.
Great company. Those great. They're doing great things in the industry.
The upcoming presidential election. Kalshi.com/PokerGo. The first 500 traders who deposit $50 will get a free $20 credit.
You're not going to remember that well.
Thank you, Negreanu, for that layup.
I don't know. I think it's a bad name.
Negreanu goes for the limp call. Dylan flops a set on, again, a quite disguised board. Negreanu has something to work with. He has a pair and a gut shot. It's actually a decent board to lead. I would say I don't necessarily like the limp call by Negreanu because he's one of the middling stacks and he can't really gain that much by chipping up against Weisman. But he has a lot to lose. If Negreanu drops down to $1 million or $1.5 million, he really loses a lot of ability to raise wide or win bounties. So Weisman with the bet, he wants to build a pot. He has a set, he has an aggressive image. Negreanu makes what looks on the surface level a light call with just a pair and a gutter. But again, the board doesn't look like Weisman, and this is a trouble card for Negreanu.
Now
He turns two pair and a queen.
Now it's
and he must feel pretty good about this.
Fernando.
I mean, if you look at the board, Queen 5-6-2 is like, what hand beats him?
How much is Fernando giving?
That raises from the big blind. Weisman on the other side has still a set in the gutter, so he wants to keep building the pot. Of course, there's also a flush draw out there now.
Or is it Polk? Is he still with Polk?
No.
This is an interesting sizing choice because this
didn't sound like that worked.
And this is maybe a lesson for people out there. Like, if you are in one of the middling stacks, you really want to play a pot out of position against Dylan Weisman, because if you bust in this position,
absolutely
now,
sure the microphones
are
are
painful in terms of the ladders. Painful in terms of the. Oh wow, he goes all in.
Okay.
Wow,
this is hard to chop.
We've got enormous action. And Daniel Negreanu is at the risk of elimination here with only 20% equity.
Hey, Dan, you know what they say? PLO's your jam.
Yeah, Queen 6-4.
Here it comes.
Queen 6-4. Could happen.
Absolutely massive river card
I
coming
think I
here.
folded a set as well.
6.2 million in the
He had
middle.
Queens up too.
Negreanu drawing very slim.
Lady
Might be our first
Gaga.
cash
You need
card.
Red Lynn to
Red line. Queen 6-4. A lot of those left.
I'll take a
I know.
7.
No queen, I get this 4K pay jump.
Queen 6 or 4, or we lose Negreanu. The river is the
GG.
jack of diamonds, and
So
that
you
is
get
it.
Some of these. I get
Daniel
these.
Negreanu,
You
the
can have my
first
pine banks.
casualty
20.
from today's final table, as Dylan Weisman rakes in a huge pot and now
I'm done.
sits on 56%
I
of the
don't
chips left, with 5 players remaining in the tournament.
Okay.
This is a big shift in dynamics now. Dylan is going to run this table over as he should, given the bounty structure, and even without bounties, it would be the case. I think what
why-
happened there with Negreanu is
Talk
Negreanu
about
plays
numbers
for the
so we
win.
can next-
He wants to win the trophy. He's not playing to ladder. He's not looking to
What are your favorites?
quote unquote respect ICM or the idea of tournament
Yeah,
poker in
you have a
terms of
favorite
laddering up. And in this case,
7.
unfortunately for him, backfired because Dylan had a very disguised,
I like
very
37.
strong hand here.
Are you 37?
And
How
in
old are
some
you
ways, the
anyways?
table is happy
We were born
because
in
they
the
have
same
a
year.
pay jump, but they also
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that they're in
We're
a world
the-
of trouble right now.
Just do a rack.
Because
Well, I heard Fox
Dylan is going to
lie about
raise
his birth
like,
year.
most of the hands,
He's 91 in March.
Yeah.
probably
right?
potting pre.
You're 91 March.
And
I was
You
the
like
big
the same
blind.
day as
the
us?
other
the dead
players
button.
are either going to bleed out or
He's
they're going to have
91.
to take a
He's
stand.
91
I
March.
did not.
Maybe you're born the same day.
We might have been born in the same hospital. We're both from Long Island.
Really?
Maybe your brother.
That's
You're born in
2.5 million.
Florida.
No, I moved when I was like,
No
Dan
wonder
Negreanu
you're
hopping
back.
into event number 3. We'll also see him in the super high rollable PLO event
that's wild.
starting in about a week time.
I should ask him which hospital.
Yeah, that looks like that looks correct. Thank you, Ray.
Different city. Probably different hospital.
I didn't even know what I wanted there. I didn't know I wanted the 4K pay jump, or
I was rooting for Daniel.
I feel like that was like lose for me
Why?
because like I have a bet versus both of you.
Yeah, but then now he's for sure less, right? Like,
Yeah, I guess like yeah, but I want it's more often like you
He just wants me to bust both of you.
just
that is true.
like you just win every time with those chips unless you're Josh Aryeh. No, sorry.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Josh just catching strays like out of
My
nowhere.
bad. Josh Neal's all the time.
Yeah.
Poker state
How
guy.
much did you start with, Richard?
Reference to Josh
Okay,
Aryeh.
thank you.
I guess it's in Sean Winter's minds, lighting it on fire yesterday
I
at
only
the
knew
final
the people
table.
that knew
I was thoroughly entertained by REA's play yesterday, which can be interpreted in
always
whichever
looks
way
like I'm
you
the
see fit.
instigator.
Fernando, before you sat down,
Although
I
Fernando never really did
spoke to
anything to me.
praise of Dylan Weisman, called him perhaps the best
was just advertising.
PLO
Yeah,
tournament
exactly.
player
That was
in the world right now, as you see Bruno Furth here make the call versus Gryko. Is there such a thing as the best right now? And if you had to make your own top 3, who would be in that?
I mean, let's address this in a moment. This is actually
Dude, I
this is a
hope
hand
Sam
I don't
plays
like in Bruno's shoes, just because Bruno has
You're just
2.5
hanging out
million
with him?
chips, and
Just missing hanging out
Sean
with him?
and John
I just love playing.
have
with
a
him.
million.
Fun to play with.
So there's not that much to gain for Bruno to defend here against Gryko. And unfortunately, in this particular
He's like
case,
one
he's
of
in a
those
world
guys
of
that,
trouble
like,
because
brings
he
the
flopped
ego
2
out of
pair and
people,
gut
you
shot
know?
against
That's
top
real.
set. But
Yeah,
the
he
point
makes
is,
the
if
table
you defend the
dynamic
big
very
blind and
specific.
you move from PLO cash to tournament, it's all about thinking about what can you gain versus what can you lose. And in this case, sure, you can win the chips or some chips, but if you bust, if you win, you can't win a bounty, which would be different versus the other guys. But if you bust, you
hard to
didn't
chop
wait out
this
the other
one.
guys, and you can't win a bounty. So this is
Yeah,
very
really hard to
unfortunate. He runs into a pool of
Jack,
again,
Richard,
probably avoidable pre.
Richard.
Oh, wow.
He's not all
hold
in
on,
yet.
hold on.
Oh, I raced a 16.
Yeah.
No, it didn't really affect me.
And then you just called. You just put in that.
Yeah,
didn't
you
say
did.
anything.
You did just call and reply.
Okay,
No,
I thought that.
really-
I mean,
I thought that was it.
I'd rather.
Sean, stop. We
No,
need,
you're
we
right.
need a
1.6.
ruling. Yeah, we need a ruling.
I want his
Okay.
bounty.
So you put it down.
So, order of
I would
operations.
just turn it over and see.
Richard bets
No patron,
300,000.
Infinite bounties.
Bruno raises to 1.6. Bruno puts out. Richard puts out calling chips and then reveals his hand. But Bruno still has this behind. So what is our? I don't know the answer.
And he just called. He didn't raise.
Yeah, he did.
Speaking of Sam's arbitrary.
No. He
No.
He called
No.
my. He called my 16.
He called-
And then revealed his hand.
Yeah.
So So yeah, turn.
Chips equal.
All right, so we have a bit of a situation here.
The
Tournament
We need to
staff.
see- we need to see-
hand is still live.
We need to see a turn.
Yeah, you need to see a
So
turn.
Richard hand is still live.
Okay, yeah, that's confirmed. So hand is still live.
imagine
Bruno
it's
still
not
has chips
live.
behind, and then action is good as played. I just wanted to make sure
It's
that
actually, usually this is bad for me, but with the bounties, this is good for me.
This wouldn't
wanna
matter
make it about
a
me, but-
ton, but Bruno has
good
a
for
hand that's
all
pretty
of us.
crushed here.
Right.
So like if a turn breaks off, I mean he might fold.
Top set nut flush.
Check.
I
How
mean,
much is in the pot?
that's a
I mean
great
normally equities run pretty close in PLO. Bruno has to be feeling horrible right now because he sees his opponent's hand and sees how bad of shape he is in.
Okay, four.
he
four,
needs
I
to
gotta
lead
be-
a 3. That is not a spade. Doesn't sound like a lot of outs.
Also doesn't have a lot of chips
won
left.
every turn that I played if that was the case.
Need a 3.
I mean, I
just
guess
has
you
to
fold.
fold.
Yeah, it's like
Maybe
it's
that
just
king
a horrible
three just
spot,
gave
but I
it.
guess you fold.
It's funny too because in a way, due to Gryko exposing his hands, Furth feels as though he's at a disadvantage, but he's actually the one who's being saved. Gryko is the one who is punished by his own mistake here.
Oh, for sure. And the table loves it, of course, because
Slightly
they want to
chip
win that
call.
bounty. They don't want Bruno to call it off here.
I mean, Bruno has to figure that any future hand he plays, he has to have greater than 8%
So,
equity
I mean,
in
we're
PLO.
already-
so
Hold on, pause this.
He is
Yeah,
getting a
but
good
you can't-
price, but at the same time,
Okay, so exactly what happened on the flop. Check. Richard c-bet 300. Bruno check raise 1.6 with this behind. Richard puts out calling chips, flips his hand face up.
On the flop.
On the flop. This is the turn has not come yet in this scenario.
The equal chips.
He put out calling chips.
Yeah, he didn't-
say anything.
He didn't say anything?
No.
so in terms of the math, like he's getting 10 to 1.
Liberalization, no extra chips,
roughly.
just
Let's see
simply
what Paul
call
Camel
chips
has to
and
say.
turns hand up.
Correct.
Okay, and we are done with action on the turn, correct?
No,
No,
this
this
was
was
on
actually
the
He checked,
turn,
he
I checked
jammed.
all in.
Oh, then.
Yeah, we're on the turn now.
Oh,
I
okay.
just-
Yeah,
I just
Rui,
have to-
Rui
I just
gave
have
the
to-
ruling that Richard's hand is still live and that there's turn action.
That's exactly what I have ruled.
Okay, cool. So then we're good to go.
Yeah,
So I'm just
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, now it's on. Now it's on Bruno.
He's getting about 10 to 1. He doesn't have 10% equity, but also in tournament poker, like your last chips are worth a lot more than additional chips. So if Bruno folds, he has 600k, or how much does he have? 400k. He can double, he can bust other players, he can win bounties. He can, like other players could collide and he can ladder. I mean, Negreanu might just call this off and wants to win the tournament, but like in theory, these chips are worth a lot of money and he's not getting the right price. But if you can figure this all out in the heat of the moment with all this controversy,
also helps him that this hand, he's in the big blind, so
Let's see a river.
he would have some
Yeah,
cheap
can
hands
we?
afterwards that gives him a little bit of life. He
Yep.
does find the fold.
they do the rabbit hunt.
I don't
Eight
think
of
he was
spades
trying
would
to
have
screw
come.
himself out of the bounties with top set.
I don't think so either, and that's why we're not going to issue a penalty for it.
Yeah.
If there was any angle there, you actually.
No, I mean, I
Yeah, that was.
Even if
was
there's
just
usually
the,
that person is screwing me over, but he,
Right,
you know,
exactly, yeah, exactly.
or not me.
Yeah,
It was just the desire to not slow roll that,
Yeah.
or not slow roll.
This is what you get for being a good person, Richard.
Yeah. That's fine. It'll come back to me.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah, this
Maybe the same.
mistake cost Gryko a lot of money
Maybe.
actually, because
Well,
this
this hand
money
wasn't
goes
supposed
in
to
every
happen.
single time, and he's gonna win
No.
a bounty, which is worth. What is that? $16,000, so 8,000 directly.
All right, so big money on the line here still at this final table. And let me tell you here about the PLO Mastermind pre-flop pass. That's a lot of P's. Unlock free access to optimal 6 max pre-flop ranges for 4-card and 5-card PLO and start evaluating your game today. This limited time offer gives you the tools and community you need to boost your skills and win more. Sign up for free today. No credit card required.
Yeah,
Visit
that's a real future game.
PLOmastermind.com/PokerGo before the offer expires. Let's go, baby. Let's get in there, start training, and
Bruno must
working
have a
on
fucking
your
monster,
PLO
man.
game.
He's
That's what I
almost
had.
calling.
We also have
need
ICM
a
ranges.
set it
Talking about ICM here a little bit.
4-5 deuce.
Because
He thought the
tournament
4-10
poker
was-
is
if the turn
very
was a
different
hard-
to cash game poker. So when it comes to who is the
Definitely in
best
there.
PLO
gonna lead
tournament
with
player in the world, it
Yeah.
is certainly
As
an
a bear
open
cutter?
question.
Bear gutter.
Because
bear gutter, 3-out gutter.
Oh, shit.
Bottom 2 bear.
Honestly, I would've gone broke.
No way.
in traditional cash
I don't
games, you
believe
have
it.
people,
When they're
for example,
11 to
heads
1,
up
yeah.
that
4 million?
play against each other at the
Yeah,
high
yeah.
stakes and people that avoid each other. And you have reliable sample sizes. You can tell like who's
kept
better,
staring at the
who
spot.
has the best results,
Yeah.
who's
Sean,
open
that's what I'm
sitting.
saying. I think
Tournaments
you fold
are
that.
different
I really do. Richard, how much
because
do you have now?
the player who
That's
is
50.
the best player pro on pro might not be the
Okay,
best
Richard had a
tournament
bad
player.
feeling that was
It's a
wrong.
bit more complicated
Maybe.
because we're playing with multiple
That was a bumper.
players at all
You'd
times
like
in open
sacrifice the
fields.
bounty, decrease
Bruno,
variance.
how much do you
And
have?
the whole theory behind
Reserve
tournament
his
poker has
tournament.
not been
255.
figured out
Okay,
as
thank
much
you.
as in cash games. So that also makes it really interesting.
200,000.
But
Those
certainly,
extra chips
Dylan is certainly up there. He has phenomenal
that's true.
results, and he has a playing style that certainly leads itself to do well in
Not like
tournaments.
he was going into the lead, so.
And he has pretty much a green light now, with Furth
Clifford
being
just
so
there.
short. And he has such a big stack, he can just really leverage his stack against other players.
He goes for the min raise so that Bruno can re-raise and reopen the action. I think Gryko has a clear call because he's still 60 big blinds deep against Weisman, so plenty of room to play post flop. Like no reason to avoid this right now. Weisman can just open the button with anything in case Bruno jams, and he has a chance to potentially win a bounty. Flops here a bottom pair and a bottom wrap. Probably a hand that is pretty good to check back. You don't necessarily want to build a pot. In the lights of the tournament format, I could also see him just betting because I don't think Richard is going to check raise the flop very much at all, because Richard doesn't want to build a pot now as the second clear chip leader. He doesn't have much to gain. He wants to preserve the chance to win these other bounties and ladder up. So even if Richard had pocket kings, I don't think he would raise the flop, because in case he gets called, he's really not pushing a lot of advantages there, especially in the lights of this tournament format. Turn is a 7, so Weisman makes a straight with 9-6, and Richard still has a wrap.
Maybe to tell Salome to put in the order I always get. She'll know.
So Weisman can beat a bunch of hands here from draws to made hands. Again, Gryko can easily have king 10, 2 10s,
She'll know.
even pocket kings, very real possibility. You want to bet, extract value, make hands fold. Like Gryko here would have to fold this hand against a larger bet. You get 30% equity to, to fold and surrender. Really shows also the power of the big stack in tournament poker.
Especially with Furth being as short as he is,
900,000.
Weisman must feel as though if any cards that he has interact with the board, he's going to be able to apply some pressure here, because it's going to be hard for someone else to have the same cards, of course.
So
Even if Gryko here has a set of 10s, this is not a comfortable spot for him.
He can only call, and in this case he makes a disciplined fold. He has a wrap on a 2 flush draw board. A lot of the outs are tainted. This is actually the best case, and he has only 30%. The best case because his opponent doesn't have one of the flush draws.
Well, it's because you were talking while we were trying to tell people what was happening, and that would make it confusing.
So with
You
the
weren't even
bounties
talking
in
about
play,
the
like
data. You were just
Weisman is
talking
going to
about
raise like
random
90% of the hands or something.
Like if you were trying
Well,
to
I
help.
was talking about the future game.
Yeah, well, we're trying to solve a problem that immediately needs to
Yeah, but that was
happen.
pretty obvious what the answer was going to be.
Yeah, but even so, like,
You didn't have
let's
to really explain anything.
let's make sure we get it right. You know, let's give them an opportunity.
Richard was being honest. Let's just.
I'm surprised
Go to the
Bruno
turn.
didn't try and kill his hands. Like, this is obviously an angle attempt. By
Sean Winter always providing us with plenty of entertainment. The atmosphere in the room with these PLO events has always been really laid back and relaxed, and you can see it here. This is a final table. They're playing on a live stream, and they're still having time to banter around a little bit. These guys, of course, all high-level players, as we see Dylan Weisman go for the waffles, no syrup. I mean, I'm sorry, but you're uninvited from any future events that include food.
You
Waffles
won't.
without syrup is a crime. I will call my local authorities right now.
Ask you, man.
So Bruno, I mean, so Winter should have basically only aces in the spot theoretically.
is your
I think
bounty,
I'm
Bruno?
pretty sure this is right. And Bruno should definitely fold, just because if the blinds defend against Winter, like if Gryko has a lot of incentive to come in because he can win a bounty, he doesn't risk much of his stack. I mean, now Richard is going to come in with a super wide range of hands, King, Queen, 6-5, which makes complete sense because he can easily take the hit against either player, and he has massive bounty incentives to win here. So I think Bruno should just fold and hope that Gryko is going to knock out Winter, or maybe John and the big blind against Winter go up against each other. And this is really where the worlds of like tournament poker and PLO cash games sort of collide, and that experience comes in. So Winter does not have aces, but he has obviously a strong hand.
I might fold. I learned this move from Sean.
And he's going to get called here by everyone but Dylan. The flop comes quite dry, 10-6 deuce. No one too happy. I mean, Richard does have a pair, and the bounties in play are massive. So he can just lead out and pot, and hope to win against Bruno. Bruno has flop 2 pair and a gut shot. But the idea is if he pots on the flop, like the players behind him are quite handcuffed because they're trying to balance the idea of laddering up versus winning this pot, which is, again, very complicated. And it really just shows if you have people covered by this magnitude, you could just blast here out with a 6 and just trying to win some bounties. But he goes for the check and wants to see what happens first. John doesn't have too much to work with. He's going to check as well. And the same thing holds true for Sean, obviously. And Bruno has 25k behind it. Looks like he's all in.
1.5.
Dynamics very interesting here with that bounty on the line. These players, of course, want to continue in the hand, but would much rather be heads up than having to check this down multi-way. And they all have small chances here to still win this hand. Oh, wow. And there it is.
He did say he knew.
Gryko makes the move with just that 6.
Bruno's bounty is $16,000.
He was going to get it anyways. That's what he said.
It's very unlikely the other players would slow play the flop anyway on this kind of texture. So he's going to get it in, and the players are,
thank you,
I suppose, excited to see Bruno potentially win because they won.
The studio, you know?
I mean, I'm not sure that he's going to win 1.5 million, so that's going to put those 3 players into a very handcuffed position.
Other than tabling his hand when I would have hit a big pay jump and now.
So Gryko needs to do the king or a queen.
Bruno Furth, tournament life on the line. Some bounties as well. And despite Gryko hitting another 6.
Well, okay.
Still looking for help here.
Yeah, I had the other 2 kings.
Wow, Bruno, nice fold of the gutter.
River card is the 4 of hearts. And the bounty stays alive. Everyone's going to be happy with that. Getting himself another chance. And Bruno Furth, happiest above all else, because if Gryko had not tabled his cards, he would have been out.
Oh, we got 4 left?
And also, he's covering now 2 other players. He can win the bounties, he can ladder up, he can take some chances. So Bruno is in a completely different spot now, given that Gryko made this mistake before with the aces. Very interesting shift now. John in the small blind has 5 big blinds.
I'm saying
nothing like
9
live.
big
No, I'm saying in the
blinds.
studio, like here.
Well, I mean,
Oh no, it's one of my favorite places.
Yeah, for sure. It's so good.
Most places they would have killed Richard's hand.
Couple maybe.
Dylan has a clear open here. He's covering by so much. And Gryko should not be fighting back here much at all. Like, he's very handcuffed with his middling stack size. Obviously, Bruno wants to get out of the way and wait for people to bust. And it's going to be interesting to see what Sean Winter is going to defend in the big blind, if so, because he still has a significant
500.
chip lead over Riordan.
This is 16.
Okay, so Gryko has a playable hand. I think he never wants to 3, but even if he
Okay,
had
so if I
aces
call
here,
and he jams, that doesn't reopen the action, right?
that's an interesting question. I'm not sure if the dealer can answer that or not.
you have a 10 big.
But I think calling is good.
Call.
This is where Riordan should at least pump fake that he moves all in just to create some drama, but he doesn't.
Okay, so Sean has a playable hand, but he is
How much do you have,
quite ahead of Riordan.
Riordan?
How much
But he's
do I
gonna
have?
take a flop.
500.
You have 500.
It's
10 seconds.
it's tricky with the bounties in play as well. I wouldn't be shocked to see a fold.
It's the winner, but
I mean,
I'll
this really tells me that Sean is an expert tournament player. I think this is a really good fold that most PLO players would not make, but he knows
What'd I say?
how tournaments work, and that this has to be a fold.
You know me for like half,
did I say?
half of your life.
I said Riordan?
Yeah,
Weisman now
read
heads
it.
up versus Gryko, who is in position. Weisman, however, sees a far more favorable flop than Gryko does, and you know, keeping an eye on the stat sheet here. Weisman on 60% of the chips in play. The pressure only increasing on these players, and
400.
Gryko is in a situation where he has a chance to be pushed around the most because the other players really only have one
I was
move.
very
I
live.
think I had 5s.
Huh? You had 5s?
I either had 3s or 5s.
Okay, I might not have had a set.
Dylan had a good hand to check the flop with, but
I think
because
I
he is the
thought I
chip
had the
leader over Gryko, it's a very good idea to start applying pressure because Richard just can't do that much there.
All right, here's a look at the aforementioned Kalshi, the first legal exchange in the U.S. where you can trade on the outcome of the upcoming election. Right now on Kalshi.com, markets are available for who will win the presidential election, who will control the House and Senate, who will win swing states, and more. Sign up now at Kalshi.com/PokerGo, and the first 500 traders who deposit $50 will get a free $20 credit. Own the outcome at Kalshi.com/PokerGo. Get in the mix. Wizard and Riordan so short right now. 5 and 7 big blinds respectively.
Oh, that's mine.
I see.
Few players will play a short stack as good as those two.
Yes, specifically. That's
They could be around forever.
Yes. But I can also see a scenario where we have 3 people all in the next few hands.
Sean should probably just fold now. Every chip matters right now that he has more than Riordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna fold. He knows that Dylan is gonna raise a blind.
Are my cards.
Yeah, this is very impressive.
Wow.
Like, I don't
These
think
are
the money matters that much to Sean, but he wants to play
There's an ace under
good.
there too.
He wants to play good tournament poker,
stop
and this
studying.
previous fold and this fold definitely shows that.
Much love to everyone who is tuned in
That's
on
okay,
YouTube.
bro.
We are
I double up
in
on
the middle of a
everyone.
1-hour
That's my
preview.
sweet
So
spot.
at the end of this hour,
yourself in.
we'll move
Yours
on
is
over
the button,
exclusively to
mine's the
PokerGo.com
mine's
for everyone who is there right now hanging out.
That was
Appreciate you all
impressive, though.
watching on the
I'm
Mothership
not going to
channel.
answer that on stream.
Donnie, we're used to having fins at these final tables. Bruno Furth
Being
coming with a
delicate,
whole
you know what
different
I'm saying?
approach to final table fashion today.
Last time we saw him at a final table, he had, I believe it was the Canada hat,
Yes,
and now he's got the Brazil hat.
Usually when I'm
So,
outside.
you know, he's just running through the countries.
It also looks like a tacky
Not Afro-sexy.
World Cup
Afro-sexy.
1998 Brazil hat. But it's probably like $500 from some fashion brand. I do need some Finnish PLO action in my life, Donnie. Hopefully today we
Yeah, I
get
mean, they're out there.
yeah, they are.
Make him not be tempted.
10 seconds.
Action on Winter,
Tempted
who-
for what?
You know what I'm saying?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know the ace jack deuce
There's a new
3
fin here,
Badugi,
too.
Ace, Jack,
Elias
and the last
Harala.
final table we played in here.
Ace, Jack, do 6.
Guess he's on
Does
the
it do 6?
Finland
I thought-
soccer team.
Probably the best
it
of
was
all
just 3.
time. You know,
'Cause
someone
you
we have
would
never heard
put
of.
the ace to the side.
I know Sam
Dylan, be
Isipoulou
quiet.
here. I know Elis
Because
Parson
of the
is
jack
here.
deuce 3.
Yanni Ukamainen is here.
I didn't even say be quiet. I just said Sean.
Yeah, this is a very American final table, for sure. But, I mean, that being said, like, this is definitely quality poker here that we see. So it's not only the Finns that can play, for sure.
Yeah, and Gryko, the lone foreigner here from the UK, trying to steal away a title here, and he probably, you know, second best right now, so he's got some good chances here. We saw that yesterday. Josh Arye in 2 hands went from hero to 0. Lautaro Guerra, the winner of event number 1. The shuffle machine hard at work. You can hear it in the background.
John picks up very poor hands.
Am I allowed to like put my time banks in to use the restroom next hand?
Yeah.
Are you?
I think so. They're your time things.
Can I?
Oh, that's actually a good question.
I'm not gonna look up anything. I already know everything.
I think he's going to look
anyways.
up some
It's
charts.
nothing
That sounds like Sean Winter.
Okay, now I'm sounding someplace.
Now, especially if he's going to look up something.
No, I don't. I
Dylan
really
has
have
a
to
blind
use the
race here, basically.
Like 4.7, right, Richard?
Yeah, but I could ask.
His
them
opponents in the
restroom,
blinds,
how
they
do
don't
you
have
play the
anything to
spot?
gain by continuing
I have ace,
pre-flop.
ace, king, 5 on ace 10 deuce. The guy put an
So you
85%
can just
of
raise,
his
and the
stack.
question
What
is
do I
only
do?
how much. 3x. Bruno should.
Table or do I?
This is like, please fold. He does have the Brazilian hat on, but this is a fold, Bruno. There's nothing to gain. John has 5 big blinds. Okay, good fold.
I mean, this is almost a free win for Weisman.
You make money
still trying to
by
get up.
folding. That's
Right.
tournament poker on the final table specifically.
Really?
I think that's what that's what
I'm
this paradox is all about, because in PLO cash, you never make money by folding. It's
results-oriented
always zero
I'm not
EV.
mad at
There's nothing to
Richard,
gain by folding, but there's a lot to gain
Mad at
in
the
tournament
outcome.
poker by folding.
so far.
And, shifting
over.
the
I
gears
guess
there is so important for
we could all
PLO
work out.
players specifically.
So when you get ready for a series like this, playing tournaments, as
Everything
someone who
happens
plays
for a reason.
a lot
Yep.
of cash all year round,
Maybe I
do you
wouldn't
sort
have
of
won
tell
that
yourself, I need
tournament
to study a few spots, reset the mindset,
if
because
wasn't
it
for
is
Richard, 'cause I'm
a
definitely
different
gonna
game?
get drawn into a different seat.
Well, the game that is
I
solved
mean, it's sick.
always
how
before
far this
PLO
can
will
go.
always be Donnie Golden, because it's a smaller game. There are better engines out there
seen the
to
movie
solve that
Butterfly?
problem, and there's more experience out there as well in terms of tournament poker. So the way I learn PLO tournaments is through no limit hold tournaments.
Oh, interesting.
So I look at people like Fedor Holes, who makes videos about how to improve at tournament poker,
Oh,
and similar players who make content around it to understand what are the ideas of ICM, equity premiums, and that
Can I
kind
go
of stuff.
too if I survive this hand?
And then
Yeah, I
I
also wanna-
translate that
Might
for
be the last
myself
one,
into
so-
how the same idea would work for PLO. What are the similarities? What is different about the game? So Bruno has another, like, even if Bruno had aces, it would be
Time extension.
a very difficult decision here. It probably would depend on the kinds of aces he has. Like, that's how tight he has to be in this spot.
I'd be curious to know Bruno's mindset, knowing that he's, at least in my opinion, more of a cash game player, right? You know, versus Sean Winter's like strictly tournaments.
10 seconds.
But so far, I mean, Bruno's shown good discipline in spots, even though he has like kind of thought about things, ultimately coming to the correct decision.
And Richard Gryko literally handcuffed to his chair. Like, he's not allowed to move until these guys start busting out.
He's pretty deep. I think he can call here and hope that John comes along so there's a chance to win the bounty. He is going to play very passive and careful post-flop, so that's not great. But his hand is too big. I think he has to call and see a flop. Yeah, I think calling is good. John can jam, John can call, like there is a bounty on the line. And you might think to yourself, well, like if John could reopen the action, couldn't Dylan just re-jam?
We used
Well,
two time
Gryko is also
extensions
going to
for
have
you.
aces in this spot when he
What?
just
I
calls.
folded
There's no
already.
3-bet.
Yeah, we
There's
just wanna
no
make sure you
3-betting for
understand.
Gryko. He's
Okay.
just going to flat anything.
Thank you.
And John has a fold. He's going to be dominated a lot by Gryko specifically in this spot because Gryko's range is very, very, very tight.
All right, so we're going to see some heads-up action here with the notion that Furth, Riordan, and Winter are all very short. Weisman, of course, licking his lips at the idea of taking some more chips from Gryko. He knows that he can be aggressive. He knows that Gryko can't allow any missteps.
Yeah, Dylan probably just wants to bet small. He's going to expect a lot of hands to just fold. Some hands can call, like he can still have aces and call, but risking something like 350k here,
400,000?
400,000, just to make hands fold like the one in question here is a very
Can I go
good
to the
result.
restroom? Is that okay? Go.
Looks like Sean and Dylan are up to discuss something in the restroom.
Maybe they're going to make a swap.
All right, so Small little break in the action to remind you of Club WPT Gold. Thanks to the World Poker Tour, you could be playing in a record-setting $5 million free roll this December in support of the Club WPT Gold launch. For your chance to be one of the lucky ones competing in the biggest free roll of all time in Las Vegas and win a $1 million first prize, head to clubwptgold.com right now and sign up for free. Registration takes only a couple of minutes. Yes, that's true because I just did it and it works very smoothly. You could win a golden passport to play in the Club WPT Gold $5 million free roll at the WPT Championship in December. Let's go, people. Let's get in there. All right, we're coming up on the end of our free preview here on PokerGo.com, on YouTube.com, and we're going over exclusively to PokerGo.com. So thank you all so much for watching on YouTube. Action will resume here at the table in just a few seconds, so that gives you time to head on over to PokerGo to start watching. Donnie, what promo code are we running right now?
PGT now.
I think he's always pretty balanced.
PGT now for $20 off your annual sub to PokerGo.com. Get in the mix, and we'll see you in the chat on PokerGo. Thanks for watching on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow with another preview.
If you just do the numbers, that's more likely.
Yeah. Did you really have King Queen on our all-in?
Of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had King, Queen, and spades. He had my hand. He had my outs. I had King, Queen, and nut spades. I was gambling in there with 4 cards above the 9.
Reckless.
Well, 9 or 8. I had ace, King, Queen, 9, nut spades. Can you stop bringing